Toxic Avenger, man, I had totally forgot that this movie was even still a thing. And to hear that it's not only finished, but that it's going to be coming out shortly, um, which I guess it's not coming out to the broader public, but it is going to be premiering at Fantastic Fest, is super duper exciting. I was very thrilled to hear this. Now, one of the big sells for me on this, and I know is a big sell for you there, sir, is that this is being directed by Macon Blair, longtime Jeremy Saulnier collaborator. He's in things like Blue Ruin, Green Room, pretty much everything he's done. They've collaborated on writing wise, or him in front of the camera. Very much a James Wan Lee Wanell relationship there, I would say, in that sense. And I am so excited to see him get a big property like this. He seems very passionate about it. It was nice to see a lot of the writers and directors and other horror pundits who have just been exposed to their work over the years really championing this and saying how excited they are for Macon Blair, and just the whole cast in general, which I gotta say, I'm pretty surprised with some of the names we have on here. Obviously, Peter Dinklage, we knew was going to be playing. I believe he's playing the character, the human side of the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
I don't know. He might.
Goose, I believe.
Yeah, I think he might do the voice for Toxic Avenger. I don't know, or Toxie. We'll have to see. But Jacob Tremblay in this, Kevin Bacon and Elijah Wood. Like, holy shit, man! Like this is stacking up, and I'm very excited to see how this shakes out. And this would be a huge win for Troma. Seriously, this would put them right back up, towards the top. I know they're always towards the top for horror fans, but like for this to get into the public, I think to have them kind of skyrocket again would be pretty fun.
Oh, absolutely. I think Toxic Avenger is something that, flies under the radar for a general audience. Last week we talked Street Trash, and then I had mentioned this stuff and had just mentioned that those things were really ripe for, that remake treatment. And I think Toxic Avenger is right in line with that as well. I know they have like 3 or 4 installments. I honestly haven't seen any of the Toxic Avenger installments. It's something that has escaped me, but oddly enough, I've always been obsessed with the Toxic Avenger, even as a kid, because I would see images and
He's iconic looking for
yes,
sure. And that
and
cartoon apparently is really
yes,
good.
yep, and I think I had a figure as a kid, so I would always see different things, and then Toxic Avenger was always, especially early in my internet days, was always the talking point of, there was just a big fan base when you would, fall into horror discussions of people talking about the Toxic Avenger. So it's something is a blind spot for me. I do want to go back and watch at least the first installment, just to kind of get myself prepped for whenever this does come out, because I am highly anticipating it, because I would love for this to spawn a couple of sequels. Is like we're looking at it, and with Macon Blair in here, I've watched I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. I think that's the title of it. It's pretty long, and I was a big fan of that one, so I'm really curious to see him, directing this and what he's going to bring to it. From what I've heard, he's a real big Toxic Avenger fan. Understands the lore and the tone that Troma goes for in their films. So everyone's speaking really positively. Everyone that had worked on set here is that, it does feel like a Troma film. So I'm curious to see what this is going to do. I know they said that they were going to be, wanted to be as practical in terms of effects as they could be. So, I mean, they're speaking my language for everything here. I was excited to see kind of this update here with the gore, and it, I assumed it was going to be rated R, but I'm glad we get that official rated R here. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think this is going to be something where I think maybe a lot of people will uncover the Toxic Avenger. I know this is something that's going to force me to go back and watch that first installment finally, and make it a point to actually see it. But I'm really excited to see where this is going to lead. I think this is something, whether if it doesn't get a theatrical release, I could definitely see this finding a home in one of the horror streaming services, and even, becoming future sequels to those horror streaming services as well.
I agree. I think that this could potentially be a huge underdog hit. That's I think it has a little bit smaller on the exposure side, but I feel like this could be very much like a Deadpool in
Yeah,
the sense for like people who are into it, who are into the character, they know it, are going to be there. But I think if it really catches on and is funny and is witty and very out there and different, I think a lot of people, general audiences, will get on board with it. Um, Now, just to briefly touch on some of the other stuff that Fantastic Fest announced, we are getting not only Toxic Avenger, but they are also going to be premiering VHS 85, Pet Cemetery Bloodlines, and so much more. I know Totally Killer is going to be there, and as you can see, they're just dropping names left, right, and center here with the creator. That's the new Gareth Edwards flick. Speaking of Godzilla, The Origin, which is something we covered on the Sunday Scaries months ago, talking about a Stone Age horror film, as well as the first two episodes of Mike Flanagan's hotly anticipated Fall of the House of Usher, which we just talked about on the last Sunday Scaries. So it's looking like Fantastic Fest is, as usual, going to be pretty great. A lot of people are looking forward to it, and it's definitely an event that we are going to have to try to attend at some point in the future.
absolutely.
And I think it's like every horror filmmaker's dream to get a film or something submitted there. Who knows? Maybe one day we will, and I think we will. But no, it's awesome. Definitely always look forward to this time of year. We covered some of this stuff last year as far as just like the news of what had come out, what people had saw, and what they were saying. I mean, Terrifier 2 was there last year, and that's when the hype really kicked off for that. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it, and we only got a couple weeks to wait.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such a stacked list so far of what they've announced anyway. So I can't wait to see what else is going to show up there. I think as soon as Fantastic Fest hits and then, coming out of it, that little honeymoon period, I think that's really where you start feeling, okay, we're in full force here. Because we're leading right into October and it's like, okay, you're hearing all these reviews, all these future things that are going to be coming out. I mean, some of the stuff, what Pet Cemetery Bloodlines is going to be October 6th. So there
Mm-hmm.
is even to be the short window of a lot of these things. But I think that the kickoff for Fantastic Fest is really when you start feeling the Halloween season, the Halloween spirit, and just ready to be scared.